Hello and welcome to Your Government in Action, a presentation of Bahamas Information Services. I'm Carissa Williamson. In the final segment of our series with the Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, Your Government in Action recently sat with the Honorable Glenys Hanna-Martin on the strategies her ministry is taking to the ethical use of artificial intelligence, as well as the development and expansion of schools nationwide.
The JUMP program is a BTC program that is being initiated or played out in certain other countries in the region. But it's going to be introduced in the Bahamas. In fact, they've already conducted a pilot project. And what it is, it will involve the 5,000 households that are deemed within a certain category in terms of being able to access internet and all those things. So it's economics, below a certain economic level. And the thrust is not just the student, it's through the student, but it's for the household. The household will get a Dell computer. Everyone will be trained, parents, whoever, on the use of it. And it's an effort to extend digital literacy for the student, but also in the community, in the household. And it involves a public-private partnership between the Bahamas government and BTC, where the government will pay a reduced internet rate, and BTC will subsidize in that way, and they will give the laptop, and there will be a continuing synergy between all the forces. So that should touch 5,000 households, and the households are being targeted through the location of the schools. So I can't remember the schools on it, but let's say it's a government high. So it'll be communities in that region of a government high, or whatever school it is that's being done. But on the issue of digital literacy, this is an issue that we're tracking because the world has gone that way. Now, most of us in the region ain't wake up to that fact yet. And so what we are doing in the Ministry of Education, we partnered with ITU, which is in the United Nations, and they are training teachers, free training, to allow them to be able to access to become themselves skilled, because we want teachers to be skilled. And we are now, we've been talking with some advice to see if we can get some consultancy to integrate digital skills into the curriculum, so that in every subject, students are able to utilize those skills. Because what they're telling us is that while they are adept at the smartphones, in terms of the actual underlying, the depth that involves digital literacy, most students don't have. So we want to give them that depth. And we've been in discussions with some local companies here to provide devices for every child. And we're negotiating that now, not to carry home per se, but to ensure there's accessibility in the classroom. We want our children to be digitally literate, but we have to ensure our teachers are. And so that's now underway in full force.
How does artificial intelligence fit into this new way forward?
Yeah, this is a conversation that we're hearing all the time. In fact, I was just reading something. They were saying artificial intelligence was used in a school somewhere in the United States, and which impacted the 4.0 GPA. They were able to utilize that. And but the artificial intelligence there have been forms of it from that time, but it's now in full throttle, and it's not going away. This is now a reality that we have to allow young people to know how to embrace in a healthy way and in an ethical way. So if they're going to use it in study and research and all that they're able to do that in a way in which they always maintain a strong ethical standing. It also has very negatives. And so on another point, I know the Minister of Economic Affairs is looking at the legislative regime that will oversee the use of artificial intelligence in a more global way in the Bahamas, so that it cannot be used for any sort of negative way. You could create untold panic, you could damage reputations, you can do all kinds of things. And so the legislation will allow accountability in those circumstances. But artificial intelligence is being embraced by the Ministry of Education, with the student understanding that they are the real brain in the matter, and the artificial intelligence is an aid or an asset to that learning.
The government of the Bahamas is committed to improving health facilities in the northern Bahamas. The Deidre Marsh of our northern service has more.
On August 10, 2024, the Honorable Prime Minister Philip Davis, Dr. Darville, Minister for Grand Bahama Ginger Moxey, and Ministry of Health officials toured the construction site of the $210 million Freeport Health campus located off East Sunrise Highway. The Davis administration broke ground for the Freeport Health campus in May of 2023. Since then, steady progress in the construction of the multifaceted facility has been taking place.
When we were in opposition after we lost the last general election, we regrouped. And we made a commitment in our Blueprint for Change that we will construct not just one hospital, but two. And the first hospital that we broke ground on is here in Grand Bahama because we understand the great need for a facility. A lot of people may not know, but the Rand Memorial Hospital is not classified as a full hospital. There are memorandums of understanding with some subspecialties that is tied in with the Princess Margaret Hospital. With this particular facility, we intend to resolve that and begin to open up this new northern hospital to the northern region, inclusive of Abaco, Bimini, and the Berry Islands. And when we break ground on the new facility in New Providence, it will be tied into the southern region, where it will be the southern Bahamas, and the two hospitals will be working together, all as a master plan for us to launch universal healthcare coverage by way of national health insurance, where the Bahamian people can have access to top-of-the-line tertiary healthcare services, and we can do a better job with more clinical and surgical outcomes throughout the country. So I'm excited because it's something that we spoke about in 2016. Hurricane Matthew put us in a ditch. The rest is history. We lost the government, but we're not complaining. We're now delivering on what we say we would do in our Blueprint for Change. And for those who have not looked at it, we invite you to get it, because we're taking the words of the Blueprint for Change and making it into a reality.
And that reality comes as early as next year, correct?
Yes, well, this particular facility, we are moving very diligently to turnkey for Part 1A and 1B in June of next year. What would that mean for the residents of Grand Bahama? There is much needed clinical space to be tied in with the Rand Memorial Hospital. We will provide urgent care facilities. We will have diagnostics here, which is inclusive of CT, MRI. We will be doing a lot of different things from this site. The whole aim for the construction of a new state-of-the-art facility is we want to downgrade the Rand Memorial Hospital, as it's rarely known, into a secondary facility where we provide more geriatric care and psychiatric care. But with that being said, we have three very good new state-of-the-art surgical centers. We will use them as outpatient surgical procedures, while this will be our major focus for tertiary healthcare services for Grand Bahama, for Abaco, and Bimini.
During the tour of the work in progress, Prime Minister Davis noted that the facility will take a more holistic approach to advance healthcare in Grand Bahama and the northern Bahamas. Prime Minister Davis said the new facility will enhance all of the healthcare facilities already here in the second city. One of the unique aspects of this new facility will be an oncology center, which will greatly benefit the residents of Grand Bahama who have always had to travel to Nassau for cancer treatment. With this new facility, cancer patients can receive critical care while at home. The first phase of the Freeport Health campus is expected to be completed by the middle of 2025. For Your Government in Action, I'm Deidre Marsh.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources announced its inaugural Anchor Award ceremony at a press conference held at the ministry on September 2nd, 2024. The theme for this inaugural event, Honoring Legends of the Sea.
Now, this event is not just a celebration. It is a heartfelt tribute to the dedicated individuals whose hard work and passion have sustained our vital maritime heritage. The ocean is more than a source of livelihood for many Bahamians. It is the foundation of our culture, economy, and identity. Our fishermen are the unsung heroes of our communities, navigating the blue waters each day, demonstrating resilience and unwavering commitment to their craft. With the Anchor Awards, we aim to shine a spotlight on these remarkable individuals. We honor not only their skills and accomplishments, but also their capacity to inspire future generations. The categories of the Anchor Awards seek to touch every facet of fisheries. The Lifetime Achievement Award, sponsored by Royal Caribbean International. The Minister's Award, sponsored by myself. No, just kidding. Sponsored by the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources. Flat Fisher of the Year Award, sponsored by Moxey. And Sports Fisher of the Year Award, sponsored by Harborside Marine. Commercial Fisher of the Year Award, sponsored by Tropic Seafood. The Prime Minister's Youth Fisher of the Year, also sponsored by BAMSI. Fisheries Supporter of the Year, People's Choice Fisher of the Year, and the number of fishers will also be honored posthumously. Together, we are giving away over $50,000 in cash and prizes. The nomination process begins today. To nominate fishers for any of these awards, visit the Bahamas Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources Facebook page that will have a scan code for the nomination form on the top of the page. The nominations will be sent to a blue ribbon panel of esteemed individuals who will make the final decision on the winners. The People's Choice winner will be selected through the Ministry's Facebook page. Now, for this part of the competition, persons wishing to nominate themselves or someone they know can send a photo and a description of the nominee to anchorawards242@gmail.com. Our team will place the photo of the nominee on the page, and followers of the page will be able to vote for their favorite fisher. Please note, only followers' votes will be counted. In other words, you must follow the ministry's Facebook page to make your vote count. The winner of the People's Choice Award will win $2,500 cash. All nominations for the Anchor Awards ends on September 30th. These exciting awards recognize those who practice sustainable fishing, advocate for marine conservation, and contribute positively to their communities. Their stories reflect a profound love for the ocean and a deep understanding of their role as stewards of our precious marine environment. Today's press conference marks the beginning of a campaign to raise awareness about the challenges fishers face and the importance of preserving our marine resources. The Anchor Awards will serve as a platform for education, collaboration, and inspiration.
More of Your Government in Action when we return. Welcome back. Your Government in Action recently sat with Minister of National Security, the Honorable Wayne Munroe, and he encouraged young people to participate in the recruitment processes of the various branches of his ministry to not only meet the demand of the nation, but to also be positive change in the country.
The Ministry of National Security has a number of agencies that we have oversight of. The police force, the defense force, corrections, and parliamentary registration elections. With regard elections, we're looking at potentially addressing the current election law to make it more relevant to the present. and upgrading the election process. For heaven's sake, we still have a paper card as your voter's card. So we're looking at addressing that, and the department is to be full-time. Insofar as corrections is concerned, I spoke about rehabilitation. So we now have a juvenile detention facility for males. For the first time, they're in a separate building, not even in the same building as adults. And we should have the one for females completed by the end of this year, hopefully. We're looking at moving forward with a new facility because if you've ever been in the correctional facility where you have 6 men in a cell with a slop bucket, 23 hours a day, Monday to Friday, sometimes 24 hours a day, Saturday and Sunday. That's not a recipe to break up gangs. That's a recipe for forcing people together into groups. We have to stop that, so we're looking at advancing the new facility. We've reintroduced the teachers, we're reintroducing the teachers back into the facility, and we're seeking to do a lot more with what we call inmate industries, making the inmates to be more productive in their time, working in their time to earn money, to support their families. Because if you have a child when you go to prison, your child doesn't stop growing, your child doesn't stop having demands on it. We also recognize that some victims would be looking for compensation. And so all of that is only accomplishable if we can have these people being more productive. And there's no reason that they oughtn't to be more productive. And so that's what we're looking at for corrections. We're also looking to introduce parole. And people get alarmed to say, oh, how are you introducing parole? Well, right now, if you go to prison, you get 4 months off right off the top. Right off the top. If you go to jail for a year, they'll release you after 8 months because they take the 4 months off. Now, if you commit an offense on day 1 out of prison, you never serve that 4 months. But parole would say you might be released at 8 months, but if you commit an offense, you owe me 4 months. So you're going back to finish those 4 months because you didn't behave. You didn't observe the condition that I released you. And the condition I released you is you don't commit any other offenses while you're on parole. So we're seeking to introduce that. For the police force, I'm not a policeman. The law says that the minister should not be a policeman. The courts, the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal have castigated my predecessor for not realizing that he isn't a policeman. He's not to be involved in that process. The most that we are to do is to advocate for the police. So we've been aggressively recruiting police officers because our predecessors didn't, and there's a shortfall. In every island you go to, they're calling for more policemen. Every police division, they're calling for more policemen. This morning, the Minister of Education has asked me for 4 more school resource officers, the officers who work in the schools, 4 more for primary schools. And so you have this demand for police personnel. And we've been actively recruiting. We hope to continue that. And so we appeal to young Bahamians who are qualified and willing to serve, to step forward to serve. We will continue to push for them to have the resources they need to do their job. When we came to power, they didn't have vehicles. And so it was important to get them 100 patrol trucks. You had the embarrassment that in a family island, one of my colleagues said, the constituent said he'd call the police, and the police say, yes, we can come if you come and pick us up, because we do not have a vehicle. In a particular island, the police were renting a vehicle for quite some time. So little simple things that you don't realize have to be addressed. the structure and the substance of where the police work, their stations, need to be addressed as well, and we need to do that, and we're seeking to do that on as urgent a basis as possible. You wouldn't want to go in the criminal records office and see what you meet there. I had to go there one Christmas myself, and so these officers are giving yeoman service in circumstances and surroundings that, in my mind, are long overdue for improvement, and that is what we have to commit to do. With the Defense Force, of course, we have to commit to continue their recruitment. They're undermanned as well, and we continue to call on them to do more and more and more. And so we need to continue to up their resources. As I said, the radars we need, the drones we need, the vessels we need, because we are an ocean state. And to man all of those things, we need people. And so again, young, qualified Bahamians, we're calling on you to step up. I have a son who is in the Defense Force, and it's amazed me. They get to see the Bahamas by boat, something really only rich people generally do, eh? So a lot of the young people who I now encounter on the Defense Force, they find that an exciting part of their journey in it. You get to be on Ragged Island, somewhere you never would be for a period of time. You get to be in Inaugural. They have a base in Bimini. They have one in Grand Bahama. They have an attachment in Abaco. So you get to see your country while you serve your country. And it appears to be an interesting job from what I'm seeing, but we need more and more young people to step up and answer the call, answer the challenge. And once you join, we need more and more officers. And so we are pushing for more officer training for young officers. They're trained in Dartmouth in the UK, or more senior ones with the Coast Guard, but we need to beef up our forces, and we're committed to do it. And we're committed to properly equip them, properly build out their bases so that they can discharge their job towards us. We have on the cards, as I say, the therapeutic boarding school, which will be an effort between Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Social Service, and National Security. We're looking to continue the National Youth Guard and to expand to National Youth Service. We are looking, as we go, as I say, to improve the quality of the electoral experience, where we can seek to bring it in to the present day from where it is now. In my ministry, we also deal with expungement of records, so that young people who may have made a mistake, yes, your record will follow you for at least 2 years, but after 2 years, for many offenses, you can get them expunged early. If not, they will come off after 5 years. In all that we do, we require the assistance of the Bahamian people. The Commissioner of Police can't do it all by himself. The Commodore can't do it all by himself. Wild Aid, for instance, is doing an app where if you see poaching, you can enter it, and the Defense Force can respond. So we need the cooperation of everyone. And what we say is this: there's a campaign now, Crime Free Looks Like Me. We have the odds out, and that's to show that everyone has to do something. But what is more important, and what I would challenge the Bahamian public is with this: if you have ever said, what is the government doing about crime, you really have the wrong perspective. You should be asking, what are Bahamians doing about crime? The government is included in Bahamians, because you have to be a Bahamian citizen to be an MP and to be a minister, but you have to be inclusive. And when you say that, you will realize that you're supposed to be doing something as well. If you're not a part of the solution, you're a part of the problem. And so let us commit to ask the question, what are we doing about crime? What are we doing about these things. As the Minister of National Security, I commit to do all that I can with God's help, and so everyone has to make that commitment, or else it's not going to work as effectively and as quickly as it should.
The Chinese embassy in the Bahamas made a significant contribution to local communities by donating mobility aids to support individuals with disabilities and presenting scholarships designed to empower Bahamian students in their educational pursuits. The ceremony took place at the Embassy of China on September 9th, 2024.
For my embassy, it's actually a great pleasure to make this very small contribution to the two students as well as to the community of persons with disability in the Bahamas. For China, we take Bahamas as a great friend in the Caribbean region, and with the efforts of my predecessors, my embassy staff, and all Bahamians from all walks of life, the bilateral relations have been maintaining a very good momentum, and the friendship between the two countries has been enhancing. So I'm very glad, as a 10th ambassador of China to the Bahamas, I can, take over this tradition, and including this, contribution and donation to the students as well as to the communities of persons with disability. So for China, you know that China has the largest population in the world. So you can also imagine, actually, in China, we also have a large population of persons with a disability. So in China, we have adopted laws on the protection of persons with disability. And then within this, accordingly, within this framework, we have consecutively 14 5-year plan for the protection and development of persons with a disability, mainly to ensure, I'm sure Minister and President and Madam, you know very well that mainly, first of all, to ensure employment opportunities. So we have established this employment security fund and with training, so that to promote job opportunities. And second is that we have established the special education system, so that they can have the persons with disabilities can receive special education, so that we can ensure inclusive education. And thirdly is, of course, medical rehabilitation. So you can see all kinds of medical rehabilitation centers in China, and with all kinds of free assistive services. And of course, also we have these social measures, including accessibility. So in China, we pay a lot of attention to these free assistive devices that the ministry is talking about. So I'm really happy that we can donate a little bit to Bahamian community of disabilities. Hopefully with the awareness raising of everyone, and also with the help and care, love and respect for the community from everyone. The community of persons with disability all over the world, whether in China or in Bahamas, all over the world, can really have a much better, environment for their living and work.
I'm Carissa Williamson, and this has been Your Government in Action, a presentation of Bahamas Information Services. Join us on Tuesday evenings, where we bring you highlights, coverage, and information as we continue to do what we do best, linking people and government.